Dear future husband, I have to tell you a secret. I've started signing these a little bit different because I have that feeling now of I know who I'm writing to. It's you. And maybe it will always be you forevermore.
Hi, I'm Bailey with She Said Yes, a podcast all about getting married. And today is the final episode of our series, and it's going to be a big one. Over the past 10 weeks, we've covered a lot of topics to help us plan for the wedding. But that's just the beginning of the married life adventure. Today's guests are going to help us put together the stuff that comes after the big day. We'll be talking through some financial strategies for marriage, what it looks like to buy a home for the first time, and of course, it all starts with the honeymoon.
Dear future husband, I love you. And don't worry, I'll say yes.
She Said Yes is presented by White of Dublin. To learn more about how they make your wedding dress experience comfortable, personal, and all about you, visit whitebridalboutiques.com. I will be completely candid. I have absolutely no idea where we're going for our honeymoon. Matt did all the planning himself and wanted it to be a secret, which I'm so excited for. I can't wait to see where we end up. And I don't think I could plan a whole honeymoon on my own.
I've been a travel agent for 30 years, but I took a break to raise a family. So Sapphire Travel has been in business for a year.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's so exciting. This is Kim, and she's the owner and operator of Sapphire Travel Consultants, and she wants to help you plan your next vacation or trip. She's been in the industry for over 30 years and loves working with agencies in the Caribbean, Mexico, and all over the world. So are you kind of the person behind the scenes? You're scheduling the hotels,
Yes.
You're scheduling the flights, you're scanning to make sure we're getting the best prices, arranging like excursions, all of that kind of stuff?
That is correct, yes.
So like we don't have to like argue over we need to have a morning flight or an afternoon flight. That's kind of
What I do. You sit down and tell me what it looks like to you. Tell me your budget, your preferences, and then I step away and I make all that magic happen.
With a travel agent, you'll have a few brief meetings or email exchanges to decide where you want to go, what you like to do, and they handle the rest. It all sounds too good to be true, but that's really how it works. It sounds like one of the big advantages of having a travel agent is not having to research, okay, what does this cruise line is? You seem to be the expert in that.
It's nice to look across the table and watch the stress just release from them because they're going through so much planning their wedding and coming together and maybe looking for a place to live. So they have so many other things outside of planning the honeymoon that it's nice to be able to take that off their shoulders.
You said that one of your favorite parts is being able to watch the stress just melt away from the couple. But what are some of those really key moments that really just stick with you?
I like the excitement. I love to see them just ready to go, especially right before they're heading out. And then even in destination, if they've, checked into the resort and, they're excited to see something special that I had delivered for their room and they call or they FaceTime me, I love to see them in destination and all excited and listen to their stories when they come back and what happened, good and bad, what happened, how did it go? And so it's from beginning to end. It's just fun. I love to see all of it come together for them and hear all the stories. So I like to send a special gift, just a little touch, whether it's strawberries or a fruit basket or a charcuterie board. And it's those little things that they didn't expect, that I didn't tell them about, that they're like, "Aw." On a cruise, I'll decorate the cabin, and when they walk in to see streamers or little things hanging or something on the door when they walk in, that's unexpected. And I wish I was there to see their reaction, but those are just little touches that you can do to just say, I'm thinking of you, and this is the start of your vacation. Have a blessed time together. So
Kim is in the business of going the extra mile for her clients. She wants them to have fun on their vacation, and she loves to provide little extra surprises and treats to make them feel really special.
We work with all budgets, especially a newly married couple that is starting off. They may not have a larger fund, but that doesn't mean that they can't have just a beautiful, equal honeymoon that maybe somebody would come with more funds. So no, we work with all budgets, and we make sure that no matter what that budget is, it's still going to be exciting, fun, and beautiful for them.
Because most travel agents earn a commission from working with resorts and destinations, there's often little to no direct fees for booking with an agent, and Kim has plenty of connections to make sure that her clients have a ton of options to choose from. And so since you've been doing this for such a long time, do you have specific almost relationships with vendors, hotels, that you're able to kind of really get into the nitty-gritty?
Yes, the suppliers that we work with, the hotel locations at each island or resort destination, I have individual relationships with the manager there or the wedding coordinator, and I work with both. And then because I have a specific relationship with them, I can call them and tell them this is what the bride is looking for. I work more with individuals in the Cancun area.
Okay. Do you have any specialized locations that you have found have been really successful or a lot of couples want to go to? Tell us a little bit about that.
In general, it's usually the Caribbean. Specifically, it's the Dominican Republic, Mexico, a cruise, and all of those areas are what I specialize in.
What have been some of your favorite locations to plan for? I know, a hard question. I know, very challenging.
Isla Morales, that's what it's called. The very tip of Cancun. Beautiful beaches, not as rough of water, so you can enjoy it. Even on a bad day, you can still enjoy the water. And then even some of the resorts in that area are grand. So they're large in the sense that they can accommodate the family that maybe is coming down for the wedding if they happen to have the wedding there.
So it sounds like Kim is more of a beach girly, which we love, and I can totally get down with, especially if you're talking about pink sand beaches. Matt, do we hear that? Pink sand beaches. One more time for Matt and Matt's ears only. Pink sand beaches. And I think as beautiful as the things, there are hiccups.
Oh, yes.
Flights get delayed.
Things happen.
All that kind of stuff.
Yes.
How do you come alongside of the couple, even if a flight got delayed or luggage is missing or they didn't get to the airport in time because they're not a Bailey and they didn't get to the airport 4 hours early. They listened to Matt and only got there 30 minutes and now they're stuck in customs. Or God forbid someone loses their passport. Right. What are some of those ways that you still circle around the couple so we're not on the brinks of screaming on our honeymoon?
Right, and having a bad experience.
Yes.
That's where all the relationships come in with all of the suppliers that we have.
One of the other cool things about working with a travel agent is that they are the ones keeping track of your itinerary and helping you navigate the more stressful parts of travel.
So if a flight is delayed, I'm notified. If there's something that happens or they've called me to tell me that something's happened, I call the airline directly because I have a separate number to work with them.
Like a super secret number.
Yes. And try to get whatever we can because, yes, those things do happen. Sometimes there's a delay in getting checked into the room. So I try to find ways to make that go quickly, and less painful. So, go get you an appetizer and take yourself out to the beach and relax for a little bit while behind the scenes, everything's scrambling to get their room. And I don't want them to know all of that's taking place. I want them to enjoy.
So Kim has super secret direct to headquarters phone for airlines. And that's really cool. It's really great to know that if there's anything we ever need while we're supposed to be enjoying ourselves, she can just reach out and get it fixed. The wedding is a day. The honeymoon typically is a week to maybe 10 days, and the planning is so much smaller for the honeymoon. So what is a good time frame to start talking to you?
I always say as soon as you can.
Okay.
As soon as you are engaged, if you can at least let me know what your date is and maybe a couple of ideas of what you're looking at, I can start working behind the scenes. And then when they're ready to come to me, hopefully sooner than later, then we'll start putting something together. So I always say at engagement, give me a call.
That's really, really helpful. Kim, if people want to reach out and they want to learn more, if they want to be like, that's exactly, I want to watch that stress melt away. If they want to be able to be like, I can let go and just show up at the airport, where can they get in contact with you? Where can they learn more? Like, what's your Facebook, your website, all that good information?
I'm on Facebook. It's Sapphire Travel Consultants. My Instagram is Sapphire Travel. And then my email is kim@sapphiretravelconsultants.com. And my website is www.sapphiretravelconsultants.com. All of those are ways to reach out to me, or you can call me at 614-949-5821, and I would be glad to meet you. I meet everybody wherever it's convenient for them. If it's on their lunch hour, I will meet them at their place of work or at a coffee shop on a weekend. You're more than welcome to come out to my office. Whatever's convenient for them is where I meet them. So social media is fine to connect, or in person is fine to connect.
Perfect. Kim, thank you so much for coming on and just sharing your awesome knowledge with us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Kim, thank you so much for joining us today. It's so good to know that we have people like you in our corner to take some of the stress out of honeymoon planning. Of course, we know that the honeymoon has to come to an end at some point. And eventually, we're going to need a place to settle down and make our own. So we need someone who can help us take the mystery out of saving for a new home. And that's what our next two guests are for. Sarah set us up a little bit.
Just to give you the background, BMI Federal Credit Union was started by Battelle Memorial Institute, that's what BMI stands for, in 1936. And we have since grown to become one of the largest credit unions in Central Ohio.
Our next guests are Stacy and Sarah from BMI Federal Credit Union, a local credit union here in Central Ohio dedicated to providing its members with exceptional banking services, including checking and saving accounts, loans, and award-winning financial education programs. They were also named the best credit union in Central Ohio for the 6th year in a row by CBUS Top Picks. So I knew we could count on them to help us talk through some of the questions I had about buying a new home.
We can serve anyone who lives, works, worships, or attends school in Franklin, Licking, Fairfield, Pickaway, Madison, Union, Delaware, or Morrow County.
One of the big things my fiance and I are facing is like, now I have to live with a boy. And like that in and of itself is terrifying to have to live with a boy. Like, oh my gosh, like what if he's smelly? Yes, exactly. Like terrifying. And so maybe I don't want to be cramped in a little apartment that's, tiny because it's just me. If I wanted to buy a house, if we wanted to buy a house, what are some of the, pros and cons of buying that first house together and moving into that instead of trying to cram him in my tiny apartment where he will not get any closet space?
So I would say one of the pros of buying a home is building equity. Mentioning how you will be paying your mortgage payment every month. You'll be paying now the principal on the balance of the loan. So over the years, as the value rises, you should see a profit when you decide to sell. When you're renting, you're essentially paying a landlord their rent, or you're actually paying someone else's mortgage, which is actually no financial benefit to you or your soon-to-be husband. So I would say you would want to look at definitely trying to buy a home.
I'm gonna be honest, home buying can be a really scary process. It's expensive and there's so much to keep track of. Fortunately, we have people like Stacy to help.
I can definitely understand where, you might come into it like, oh my God, what's going on? Who do we talk to? So my suggestion would be first to speak with a lender. Get in contact with us, whether it be, you making a phone call, you going online, and looking at getting pre-approved. That way it gives you and Matt a clearer picture on what you can afford. This will also in turn give a realtor, who you should probably contact next, a better picture as to your ability as to what you can afford, and then they can also make the best offer on your behalf. I would definitely make sure that you have some money saved up. If you don't have money saved up, then there may be some other options you may want to take a look at, whether that might be getting a gift from a family member, something of that nature.
I know that you have to make a down payment to actually buy a house, but it was still a little fuzzy about what a credit score was, and Stacy did a pretty good job of explaining that too.
The credit score is important, most definitely. With getting pre-approved, we require a minimum credit score of at least 660 for our first-time home buyers. We also take a look at your employment history, credit history. Do you have the correct amount saved up to be able to even purchase this home? Debts that you may have. One of the most important things I would say is your debt-to-income ratio. This would be taking everything that you're currently paying along with your new projected mortgage payment. So, you're taking a look at if you have a car loan that you're paying monthly, any type of credit card debt, also student loans. So we take those things that you're currently paying monthly, divide that by your monthly gross income. This amount can be no more than 43%. The best way to truly know, though, is most definitely getting in contact with a mortgage loan officer and applying and getting pre-approved. That'll give you the best picture.
Perfect. And so we talked a little bit about mortgage payments, down payments, things like that. And I have heard this, once again, acronyms, PMI. What is that? Do we have to pay it? Is there a way that legally I don't have to pay it? Kind of talk to me a little bit about what PMI is.
Okay, great question. Great question. PMI actually stands for private mortgage insurance. What this is a premium paid by borrowers as a part of their monthly mortgage payment to protect us, the financial institution, from incurring any loss on higher risk mortgages. Typically, we state that you should have 80% of your loan to value, which means you'd have to put down 20% of the home that you're looking to purchase to avoid PMI. With BMI FCU's first-time homebuyer program, though, we only require that you put down as little as 3%. There's no PMI, and this would be great if you qualify.
Okay. So a PMI is like an extra expense we have to pay if our down payment is too small. But with BMI Federal Credit Union's first-time homebuyer program, that down payment could be significantly smaller and even eliminate the need for a PMI.
As you qualify, you would be able to put down 3%, whereas most lenders with an amount so low as 3% would require PMI.
That's amazing. That's so great. I love that. I absolutely love that.
I feel like that kind of sets us apart from other credit unions and or banks.
That's awesome. So let's say, for some crazy reason, I am marrying somebody who already has a house. So he's already bought his first home. He already got that loan. What other loan services do you guys offer? What other type of loan programs are there? And then also, can you explain the difference between fixed rate mortgages and adjustable rate mortgages? And ARM? Is ARM an acronym that I should know? Do I get a gold star for that?
All right, so let's see. Let's break this down. So we do offer other conventional loan products. We offer competitive rates and low origination costs. Now, with qualifying, you would have to look at if he already has owned a home before, then with qualification, we tend to take the middle credit score of both of the people who are applying. For first-time homebuyers, though, we take what is called the highest score between the two. And that's what we take into consideration, which that means if, he may happen to not have the greatest credit score, but you're responsible and you have the better credit score, then we would take that with our first-time home buyer loan. Okay. But with the conventional mortgage, then we would take the lower middle score of the two. You also asked about the difference between fixed versus ARM.
Ooh, we know an acronym!
So ARM stands for adjustable rate mortgage. Some people sometimes scare away from those. What an adjustable rate mortgage is where the loan is fixed for a certain amount of time. So say, for example, you have a 7-1 ARM. That means that this rate is fixed for 7 years and then would adjust each year after that 7 years. Just depending on what the market is at that time, that may be something that you want to take advantage of, especially, now with rates being the way that they are. ARM rates sometimes tend to be lower than what we're offering as far as a fixed rate. Now, with a fixed rate, whether you do a 30-year, 20-year, 15, that rate remains fixed for that amount of time.
BMI Federal Credit Union is able to sit down with you and figure out which kind of mortgage will work best for you and your current financial situation. Stacy says it's one of the biggest advantages of their local connections. They can even help you refinance down the line if your home accumulates more value over the years.
So say you're paying this high interest rate, but now you're looking to say, okay, rates have come down really good, Stacy. What would our new mortgage payment look like? Well, yeah, we can plug in the numbers, see what your new mortgage payment would look like. And if it's advantageous for you and your husband to do it, then we say, let's go ahead, let's get this appraisal done. That way you're making now a lower payment.
Sarah, Stacy, thank you so much for joining us today and explaining some of the big, scary acronyms of home buying. If someone wants to know more, where can they find you?
You can definitely go onto our website, www.bmifcu.org/mortgages. There, you can request to have a mortgage loan officer give you a call. You can put in a date and a time that best suits you and your schedule, whether it be because you want to talk to us or both you and your spouse want to talk to us. You can call, schedule a time. We'll give you a call and have a conversation with you about, our products and what best fits your situation.
Like we talked about in the last interview, it kind of takes a village to buy a home. And we talked to a lender, but what about a realtor?
So I have one question. You said you guys are a brokerage company, and I'll just be completely honest. This is a very new realm to me and to maybe so many other brides and newlyweds. So what is a brokerage company? If you wouldn't mind just spending a little bit of time on that, just so we have a basic understanding of what you guys do and how you're able to help us.
Sure. So all real estate agents that are out there have to work for a broker. And a broker is someone who has additional education and resources under their belt that allow them to be more of an expert in their field.
Sarah and Nicole work with Rock House Realty, a brokerage here in Central Ohio. Rock House Realty manages many properties in Hocking Hills regions, but they buy and sell around Columbus as well. And it's not just residential. Rock House Realty deals in commercial, rental, and construction properties as well. So with such a broad range of experience, I felt confident that they can help take out some of the mystery of home buying for us.
So what are some strategies and some things that people should know about buying their first home, whether it's going to be their forever home or they're looking for it to, or ensure that they're not having to move out in 2 years because they've outgrown it?
There's a lot of things people don't want to think about, but it can be expensive to own a house. So you want to understand, how much money do you want to put down on this home, right? And you want to work with a great lender to understand what you can afford. But it's also really important when you're looking at a house to understand some of the maintenance items that come along with home ownership. And people don't necessarily always want to think about that, right? And so anytime you're looking at a real estate venture, you really want to do your homework. You want to have the home inspected.
Oftentimes when you buy a home, one of the things you'll need to take care of is an appraisal, which basically means hiring someone to look at your new home and give you an accurate estimate of what the property value is, as well as what might need to be fixed or updated in the house before it's purchased. Things like roofing, plumbing, and foundations usually get looked at in the real estate appraisal, but can often affect what the lender is willing to let you borrow. Sarah says it's really important to remember what comes up in appraisal might be something you need to pay for down the line.
I'm not a contractor anymore, but I have 15 years of contractor experience. And so I can look at a property and give some pretty decent ballpark. And by saying, look, this house is going to need new windows, or your electric is dated, and just not necessarily being the expert in that, because there are people that you bring in during the sales process to help you, but just to point some of those things out so that you don't have a situation where you go, oh my gosh, I need a new hot water heater, or the furnace went out, or all of those things that come up.
On top of the appraisal process, Sarah and her team work with plenty of lenders too, so she'll be able to give us an idea of what that process looks like as well.
How does someone go about making sure that they do have a reputable lender to make sure, and kind of why that's so important?
Absolutely. And there are so many options out there. It can be really overwhelming. And so one of the key takeaways, I think, for having a real estate agent on your side is someone that can provide all those options and resources for you and give you a selection of people to choose from. So here's 3 home inspectors that I like to use. Call each of them, get a quote, decide which one you like. So here's 3 lenders that I believe do an amazing job. call each one of them, find out what their terms and rates are, and make a decision. So, us as real estate advisors can sort of lead you to the trough, if they say, right? But we need to make sure that you guys have a certain level of choice in that too, right? So the lending piece of it can be overwhelming because there are lots of options, especially in today's market with interest rates being a little bit higher. There's people that are looking at doing different types of lending that can make your head spin, right? So there's 30-year fixed rate loans. There's flexible rate mortgages out there where you can do what's called like an ARM product. So you lock the rate in for a 5-year period of time, and then it can fluctuate. And it's really important to understand all the moving parts so that you're very clear on what your payment is and what your obligation is, because I work with a number of title companies, and one of my favorite lines is you don't pay, you don't stay. So you want to make sure that you feel really comfortable with that. And some of my favorite mortgage lenders are those that just truly hold your hand through the whole process, especially when you're new at it. And I work with a couple that I really, really appreciate them. They do a great job. Sometimes it's not always just about the rate. Sometimes the fees to get your mortgage can be lower, right? But your rate might be a little bit higher, but your payment might come out to be similar in over time. So there's a lot of working parts when it comes to that. And then obviously you have different options with your down payment amount. There's lots of first-time home buyer programs out there for people that have never owned a home before. And so taking advantage of some of those free money options is really important to take advantage of too, if you've never owned a piece of real estate.
As scary as shopping for a new home can be, it sounds like there's quite a few tools that can make it easier for those of us who have never done it before. Sarah and her team are well connected with people who can take some of the stress out of the process, and depending on where you live, there can be some programs to help bring the cost down for first-time home buyers. It's just as important to find a realtor and a lender that you can trust.
You want to be able to have a good relationship with people, and also someone who comes to the table with some experience in the type of real estate that you want to get into is important. So you're not going to work with a real estate agent that is doesn't have a whole lot of experience in rehab work, right? If you want to get into rehabs, I mean, it's not that anybody can't show you a property, but you want somebody who's going to come to the table and have some longevity under their belt to go, look, this is what it's going to cost you. I've done so much development in Hocking Hills that I can rattle off what it's going to cost you for your septic, your well, your foundation, your electric hookup, what kind of revenue stream you can generate from that specific rental if you build it. I mean, it's just finding the person that you can connect with and that you feel like brings resources to the table that are going to benefit you. We are, as I said, in the infancy stage a little bit, but our website is rockhouserealty.com, and give us a minute. We're almost up and running. But prior to that, we do have a website called Ohio Property Guide, and Ohio Property Guide will allow you to search properties. It'll allow you to connect with our agents, and it'll allow you to be able to look for different neighborhoods and those types of things. So check out rockhouserealty.com and also ohiopropertyguide.com. And again, my name is Sarah Claypool. My direct cell phone number is 614-747-2155. My email is sclaypool@rockhouserealty.com. And then also Nicole is our amazing resource to help connect people. And she's our foundation that's helping build all of the parts and pieces that allow us. I love being in the field, right? So Nicole's helping us make sure that I can stay in the field a little bit, but also help all these new agents we're bringing on board. So Nicole, do you want to give your contact info as well?
Sure, absolutely. Email is nkrieger, which is CRIGER @rockhouserealty.com. And phone number is 614-537-5611.
Sarah, thank you so much for demystifying some of the scary parts of home buying for us. You and your company have built good relationships, and it means so much to have you share some of your knowledge and experience with us. Thank you for joining us. And thank you Thank you for following us through this crazy wedding planning journey. Matt and I are so excited to be starting our new lives together, and it's been so much fun to share some of our experiences with you. We truly hope that you got something valuable out of this and that you'll be able to use some of these resources and strategies that we've discussed in the past 10 weeks to help you have the wedding of your dreams. If you do end up reaching out to one of our amazing guests, make sure that you said that you heard about them on She Said Yes. Say hi to them for me, check in with them. Now I've got some of my own wedding planning to do and the man of my dreams to marry. So I'm not sure when I'll be back, but until then, I'm Bailey, and thanks for listening to She Said Yes. She Said Yes is presented by White of Dublin. To learn more how they make your wedding dress experience comfortable, personal, and all about you, visit whitebridalboutiques.com. It was produced and distributed by River Radio Ministries. Our executive producers were Bill Montgomery and Marty Daniels. Our editing team was led by Eric Stroud and Chloe Hunt, with graphic design by Abigail Cairns. All music and sound effects were licensed through Envato Elements. Special thanks to our sales team, Wesley Boston, Lauren Bensler, Marty Daniels, and Greg Balmer for helping us find our wonderful guests. And thank you to all of our guests and vendors for sharing your time and crafts with us. You can find a full list of our vendors at the link in the show notes below. And of course, lastly, but certainly not least, thank you to Matt. Thanks, Matt, for going on this journey with me, stepping outside of this comfort zone, and most importantly, thank you for asking me to marry you. I can't wait to go on this next journey with you. I love you so much. I found my future husband. And don't worry, I'll say yes.